In 2023, Americans bet a jaw-dropping $120 billion on sports, with over $11 billion in revenue flowing into the pockets of betting companies. But here's the real question. How did we go from shunning sports gambling to making it a cornerstone of modern sports? If you've watched any major sporting event lately, you've seen the ads. FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, they're everywhere, from TV commercials to billboards and stadiums. What's even more surprising, sports teams are now teaming up with sports books, setting up betting lounges right next to where the action happens. But how did we get here? To find the answer, we need to look back in history. This all began in the Colonial Era, where gambling was already deeply ingrained in American culture. Wealthy landlords in Virginia would bet on horse races, and lotteries were a common way to fund public projects. But as the 19th century rolled around, religious movements began to push back, leading to widespread gambling bans. Despite these efforts, gambling continued in places like New Orleans and on riverboat casinos where it thrived in the shadows. Then came the 1919 Chicago White Sox scandal, one of the earliest instances where gambling intersected with sports in a way that shocked the nation. 8 players, including the legendary Shoeless Joe Jackson, were accused of throwing the World Series in exchange for money from gamblers. Even though they were acquitted in court, all 8 were banned from baseball for life. This scandal set the stage for decades of tension between sports and gambling. But that wasn't the end. In 1989, Pete Rose, one of the greatest players in baseball history, was caught betting on games he managed. The result, a lifetime ban from the sport he loved. These incidents reinforced the belief that gambling was a threat to the integrity of sports. So how did Las Vegas become synonymous with gambling and the leader in sports betting? Las Vegas was founded in 1905, and by 1906, it had its first casino. To help tamp the desire for more legal sports gambling, the federal government imposed a 10% tax on gambling winnings in 1951, a move that led to a sharp decline at Vegas casinos. In 1974, the feds lowered the rate to 2%, spawning a boom in Las Vegas. In 1983, the feds lowered the rate again to 0.25%, where it remains today. The opening of the first sportsbook at the Stardust Casino in 1975 was a game changer, setting the standard for what sportsbooks would become. But even as Vegas thrived, sports betting remained illegal in most places. That is until a groundbreaking Supreme Court decision in 2018 changed everything. So what exactly happened to turn the tide, and what does this mean for the future of sports? The legal shift began in 1964 with the Federal Wire Act, which made it illegal to place bets across state lines using wire communications. The Bradley Act followed in 1992, banning sports betting almost everywhere. But in 2018, the Supreme Court effectively legalized sports betting when it overturned this law, arguing it gave too much power to the federal government. This decision ignited a rapid expansion of the industry, fundamentally changing how Americans interact with sports. Since 2018, sports betting has grown into a massive industry, with 38 states and DC now offering legal sports betting. The industry generated $11 billion in revenue in 2023 alone, and it's projected to reach $45 billion in the coming years. What's more, the very sports leagues that once avoided any association with gambling are now embracing it. Las Vegas is home to major sports teams like the Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Raiders, and soon, the Oakland Athletics. So here we are, sports and betting are more intertwined than ever before. As more states look to legalize betting and technology continues to innovate, the influence of gambling on sports will only grow. What are your thoughts on the rise of sports betting? Let us know.